Hello, my dear students! Welcome to our virtual class in Practical Research 1. The following are the different most essential learning competencies and specific objectives that you have to achieve at the end of the lesson.
Let's start our first topic, which is all about stating research questions. So what are research questions? A research question is the fundamental core of a research project. It helps you identify the phenomenon to be studied. Also, it focuses the study, determines the methodology, and guides all stages of inquiry, analysis, and reporting. The specific research questions let you identify or direct you to the exact aspect of the problem that your study has to focus on. You should ask a question about an issue that you are genuinely curious and or passionate about. The question you ask should be developed for the discipline that you are studying. Remember that research questions serve to narrow the purpose of the study. According to Writing Center of George Mason University, a good research question should have the following qualities. First, it must be clear. Make sure that it provides enough specifics that one's audience can easily understand its purpose without needing additional explanation. Next, it must be focused. Make sure it is narrow enough that it can be answered thoroughly in the space the writing task allows. Third, it must be concise. It must be expressed in the fewest possible words. Fourth, it must be complex. It is not answerable with a simple yes or no, but rather requires synthesis and analysis of ideas and sources prior to composition of an answer. Lastly, it must be arguable. Its potential answers are open to debate rather than accepted facts. Writing a good research question means you have something you want to study. The following are some of the steps, and then look at how you could write a research question. First, specify your specific concern or issue. Then, decide what you want to know about the specific concern or issue. Next, turn what you want to know and the specific concern into a question. Make sure that you will be specific with what you want to focus on in your study as to the topic or phenomenon to be addressed, what you want to know about it, and this must be reflected through your research questions. The fourth step is ensure that the question is answerable. Also, check to make sure that the question is not too broad or not too narrow. This is the basic process in writing a research question. Writing a good question will result in a better research project. Remember that in writing your research question, it must be feasible, clear, and simple. Aside from what is mentioned a while back, the following are the different ways on how to state the research questions. Step 1. To develop a strong research question from your ideas, you should ask yourself these things. Please read it silently. A different type of questions tries to confirm existing beliefs or assumptions. Another type of questions tries to discover new ideas. Step 2. A strong research idea should pass the so what test. The potential impact of the research being proposed must be thought about. You can think about the potential impact of the research that you are proposing. What will be the benefit of answering your research question? Who or what it will help and how? Step 3. A research focus should be narrow and not broad-based. Specify the research problem, the practical issue that leads to a need for your study. Perhaps you may ask yourself the question, what can be done to prevent such problem? Or you may start your sentence with the following. The topic for study will be, or the study needs to be conducted because. Step 4. Fulfill the following criteria. It must be in single sentence, include the purpose of the study, include the central phenomenon, use qualitative words, note the participants, and state the research site. If you can see here in step 4, it's all about expressing a good purpose statement. If you can still remember last week, a good purpose statement was already presented, just like what is presented here. The following is an example of a good purpose statement. Please read this silently. Research questions serve to narrow the purpose of the study. And there are two types of research questions. It could be the central question and the sub-questions. Always remember the following. You have to use good qualitative wordings in writing the research question. Also, begin with how or what. Tell the reader what you want to attempt to discover, generate, explore, identify, or describe. Next, ask what happened to help craft your description. Also, ask what was the meaning of people of what happened to understand your results. You may also ask the question, what happened over time to explore the process. And avoid words such as relate, influence, impact, effect, cause, influence, compare, contrast, and the like, since it may lead you to a quantitative type of research. The following are the examples of research questions from actual qualitative studies. Please be guided accordingly. Here are more examples of research questions for different qualitative methodologies. Different types of studies go under the umbrella of qualitative research, each with its own philosophy and ways of looking at the world, as well as various methods of interpreting data. Here are some qualitative research question examples that could be used through different qualitative approaches. Our next topic is about scope and delimitation of research. The scope and delimitation of the study are the two elements of a research paper that inform the reader what information is included in the research and explain why the author chose that information. The scope of study contains the explanation of what information or subject is being analyzed. It is followed by an explanation of the limitation of the research. Research is usually limited in scope by sample size, time, and geographic area. It sets the boundaries and parameters of the problem inquiry and narrows down the scope of the inquiry. It is the domain of your research. You need to make as clear as possible what you will be studying and what factors are within the accepted range of your study, according to reference.com of 2017. On the other hand, when we say the limitation of the study, it refers to the description of the scope of study, which explains why definite aspects of a subject were chosen and why others were excluded. It also mentions the research method used, as well as the certain theories applied to the data. Simply, when we say the limitation of the study, it refers to the boundaries of the research study arising from the researcher's decisions of what to exclude. Please take note that limitation and delimitation are two different terms. When we say limitation of the study, it identifies potential weaknesses of the study and is associated with qualitative study as related to validity and reliability. On the other hand, the limitation of the study is a place to explain the following. First, the things that you are not doing and why you have not chosen to do them. Next, the literature that you will not review and why not. Then, the population that you are not studying and why not. Also, the methodological procedures that you will not use and why you will not use them. Remember to limit your delimitations to the things that a reader might reasonably expect you to do, but you have clearly explained reasons and have decided not to do. How are you going to indicate the scope and delimitation of the study? Please follow the following steps. First, start with any of these sample phrases that express the scope of the study. Step 2. Explain what information or subject is being studied or analyzed. You may also explain the limitations of the research, like the sample size, time frame, geographic area, subjects, facilities, and the issues to which the research is focused. Step 3. Start with any of these sample phrases that express the delimitation of the study. And step 4. Describe the scope of the study. You may explain why definite aspects of a subject were chosen and why others were excluded. You may also mention the research method used as well as certain theories that applied to the data. Explain also why you are delimiting the research to a specific geographic location. Moreover, identify the constraints or weaknesses of your research which are not within the control of the researcher. Presented on the screen are the different examples of delimitation of research. Our next topic is all about the significance of the study. Writing a research paper has its purpose. Therefore, there is a need to identify the key reasons and why you are taking a step forward and make your query into formal writing. In this stage, your whys and hows will be answered and explained. Beneficiaries of the study are those persons or group of persons or organizations or communities or any other legal entity that the researchers target to benefit either directly or indirectly from any action or program as a result of the study. In other formats of research, this section is called significance of the study. Therefore, when we say significance of the study, it is a brief declaration that such study is very important and necessary. The following are the different tips in writing the significance of the study. First, refer to the statement of the problem. Your problem statement can guide you in identifying the specific contribution of your study. You can do this by observing a one-to-one correspondence between the statement of the problem and the significance of the study. Next, write from general to specific contribution. Write the significance of the study by looking into the general contribution of your study, such as its importance to society as a whole. Then, proceed downwards towards its contribution to individuals, and that may include yourself as a researcher. You start off broadly, then taper off gradually to a specific group or person. In addition to the first given information, the following are the 2 steps on how to write the benefit and beneficiaries or significance of the study. Step 1. Identify the beneficiary or beneficiaries of your studies. Then, describe the benefit or benefits that will be derived from the research study. Our fourth topic is all about statement of the problem. A problem statement is a brief piece of writing that usually comes at the beginning of a report or proposal to explain the problem or issue the document is addressing to the reader. It is a description of an issue currently existing which needs to be addressed. It provides the context of the research study and generates the questions which the research aims to answer. In general, the problem statement will outline the basic facts of the problem, explain why the problem matters, and pinpoint a solution as quickly and directly as possible. The ultimate goal of a problem statement is to transform a generalized problem into a targeted, well-defined problem that can be resolved through focused research and careful decision-making. It does not need to be too long because one page is more than enough for a good statement of the problem. Based on the given definitions of what a problem statement is, the following are the key characteristics of the statement of the problem. A good research problem should at a minimum address a gap, be significant enough to contribute to the existing body of research, be one that will lead to more research, render itself to be investigated via the collection of data, be interesting to the researcher and suit his or her skills, time, and resources, and it must be ethical. In formulating the problem statement in a research paper, there are two types of problem which should be considered. These are the general problem and the specific problems. When we say general problem, it pertains to the opening paragraph that gives specific details on other essential elements which are the purpose, major variables, participants, setting, and time coverage of the study. The said elements serve as a guide in order to properly formulate the general problem. According to Cristobal and Cristobal of 2017 from their book Practical Research 1 for Senior High School, it presented the following guidelines in writing the general problem. These are as follows. The general problem should clearly state the main task of the researcher. It must present the major variables related to the phenomenon to be investigated. It must identify the participants of the study. It should state the research setting as well as the time period of the study. And it may indicate the intended output of the study, such as an intervention program, module, policies, and others. The following is an example of a general problem. Please read it silently. In the given example presented earlier, you can see that the main task is to determine the major variables are the functions, emojis, and online communication. The participants are the grade 11 students in the setting Lamao National High School. The time period covers school year 2019-2020, and the intended output is the learning content presentation strategy. After formulating the general problem of the study, enumeration of its specific problem should follow. Unlike the general problem, which is stated in a declarative form, the specific problems are stated as questions, which should all be anchored on the general problem. With this, the researcher will be guided on how he or she will seek an answer to the problem. In addition, the researcher must also know that a specific question to be formulated must be a researchable question. That is, specific problems should begin with words such as what and how. Non-researchable questions, as in those which are answerable by yes or no, should be avoided. In this case, the researcher may be able to solicit responses which can ensure detailed data necessary to the study. Presented below are the different examples of non-researchable and researchable questions.
That's all about our lesson for this week in Practical Research 1. Thank you for watching and see you again next week.